Hi, this is Greg, Telltale Books, giving you a review today of H.G. Wells' In the Abyss, one of the short stories of Wells' writings that I have read recently as part of my project to try and read everything I can get my hands on by H.G. Wells. And this was a fairly early short story, although he had published a lot of his best short stories and his first 4 novels at the time that this story was published. It was first published in Pearson's Magazine in 1896. It was included in his short story collection, The Plattner Story and Others, which was published in 1897. And the first remarkable thing about this story is that it tells the tale of a scientist going down into the depths of the ocean in what is essentially a bath escape. Now, bath escapes were not truly invented until after 1900. I think I read where it was 1920 or something like that before one was actually built. Now, it wasn't a huge deal since submarines had already been invented in the Civil War. It wasn't a huge deal to imagine building something like that to go into the depths of the ocean for exploration purposes. So, but you still got to give him credit. It's one more on the list of the many things that he imagined before they were ever actually invented. So he was pretty good with stuff like that. But the really interesting thing about this story is that it has all the classic trademarks that make H.G. Wells' fiction really great, except maybe his philosophy. But it has that sense of mystery where Wells was really good at telling the story, but leaving enough out where you got an idea of what he was talking about, what the characters were dealing with, but you were left with questions. You were left with certain things unanswered. He didn't give you all the little details about this whole thing. He in this case he came up with a whole undersea world, an undersea civilization. These humanoid sea creatures that have a whole city deep under the ocean, and religion and everything. And he only takes you so far where you're still left with this strong sense of the mystery of the whole thing, and you're left wanting more. You're left wondering, you're left, but it's not where he's leaving so much unanswered that you feel unsatisfied. He's giving you enough of the world that you get the idea, and he gets to the point of the story, but he leaves a lot for your imagination to fill in. That's the power of H.G. Wells. That sense of mystery, that weirdness comes across because he does that, because of what he doesn't say in the story. And that's an important point about everybody that wants worlds to be totally built, is that an author needs to give you just enough that you understand what's going on, but not too much to spoil the fun of your own imagination, the fun of your sense of wonder, the fun of asking questions and looking for your own answers to some of the questions that the story brings up, the fun of filling in the blanks. That's much of the fun of literature, where everything isn't just handed to you, shown to you on a screen. It's all just words, and there are things left out that you have to fill in those blanks. That's one of the strengths of literature. It allows your imagination to take part in the story. And Wells was a master of that. Wells was a master of that sense of mystery and sense of wonder in his stories. Now, it is a very short story, so yeah, he does introduce you to this world, and then he pulls you out of it, and the main character of the story goes back down for a second time, but something happens where he never comes back up. And so you're left wondering, you're left with a lot of things unanswered. You're left thinking there's this whole civilization down there. What all is happening? What might happen in the future? What might these creatures do? How might they be reacting now that they've had contact with me? You know, all these things that Wells just, he doesn't go there. He leaves it for you to think about and ponder. And that's really the power of this type of short story, is to give you just enough to get you thinking, and then get out and leave you with a lot of questions that your mind can ponder and dig through. So this is very much a classic H.G. Wells story. It's right on par with all of his other short stories of that period, like Flowering of the Strange Orchid, and In the Avu Observatory, and The Crystal Egg, and Plattner Story, and Remarkable Case of Davidson's Eyes. All these stories are just so incredible, so powerful. In a way, they come across like horror stories. Most of them are science fiction, but there's a sense of horror, mainly in the fact that you don't have all the questions answered. There is so much mystery left. These creatures, you don't know what they're about. You don't know if they're a danger to us. And so you're left with this sense that you're left with this strong sense of mystery, and this sense of the kind of terror of the situation the person is in, confronting these completely unknown creatures. Wells was a master of the short story, and in his short stories he explored a lot of the ideas, a lot of the tropes that came into later science fiction. And it's just amazing the fact that he wrote most of these stories between 1894 and 1900. In such a short time, he had such a huge output of these incredible, mysterious science fiction short stories. Anyway, I'm rambling. The other thing I want to mention is I'm recording this on August 29th in the evening, and I have found out about the space opera month of September on SFF 180, now a YouTube channel if you don't know what that is. And being a lover of space opera, I gotta partake in this. So I have my stories chosen. I'm going to start with The Nemesis of Terra by Leigh Brackett, which was originally called Shadow over Mars, originally published in Startling Stories. I have the Tor Double Edition with an Edmund Hamilton story that was published in the 1980s. And I have never read this. I'm going to finally get around to reading it as part of Space Opera September. After that, I'm going on to The Skylark of Space by E.E. Smith, because it's another classic science fiction space opera from way, way back that I've never read. And E.E. Smith was born in Sheboygan, Wisconsin, the town where I live in. And after that one, I'm finally going to... I started Gideon the Ninth. I read the free chapters that were put out there. I bought the book, and then got busy with other books and other things, and haven't read Gideon the Ninth. So that's going to be that's going to satisfy the number 2 challenge for Space Opera September of reading something written by a woman, which also has some alternative lifestyle type characters. And so that'll actually satisfy 2A and 2B. So I satisfy the novella, because Nemesis of Terra is only like 107 pages long. It really is a novella, even though it's considered a book. And it was awarded the Retro Hugo this summer for Best Science Fiction Novel of 1944. It really isn't a novel, it's a novella. And then Skylark of Space, reading one that was published before you were born. Of course, I have to dig back quite a ways for me to get to that. I envy the people that can dig back to 1990 and discover something from before they were born. And then the final one, a book over 500 pages. I don't know if I'm going to get that far because I'm just not that fast a reader. I'm still trying to read the Odyssey, which is coming up in a couple of weeks for us to review, following up on the Iliad. And I'm going to try and get through The Molten God's Eye, which is about 550 pages by Larry Niven and Jerry Pournelle. That's I believe, a Hugo-winning novel from the mid-'70s, which was very popular back then. It was a very big deal for that novel to be published, and it won the award, and everybody loved it back then. And I bought a copy, and it's another one I just have never gotten around to reading. So the Space Opera Septembers is this perfect opportunity for me to get caught up on a lot of those books that have been sitting in my collection for 30, 40 years, and I just have never taken the time to sit down and start reading them. I'm going to get some more cleaned off of that bucket list, and I'm going to be doing videos for each of those, but I'll also be posting results on Goodreads and such, and on our Facebook channel, so watch for that. But we have some big things coming up in October. I wanted to have the whole month of October because of when I visited Salem, Massachusetts, they have the whole month of October haunted happenings, and I thought that was cool. And so I said to Emily, we should do all of the videos for October to be horror videos. So we got some horror novels that we're going to be reading and reviewing, but October is going to be all horror. I need to sign off and let you go and tell you to come back Friday. What's Friday? Friday is the Time Machine with Emily's husband, Joe. He loves his Time Machine. Emily never read it. He and I both were heavily influenced by it when we were young, so we got together and we did the video. And we actually shot the video at a local nature preserve, which I'll apologize now for all the wind noise on the microphone. It was a little bit windy, and I wasn't expecting, I'm shooting with my iPad right now, I wasn't expecting that the iPad would have issues with that, but it did, and it sounds kind of bad, but it's a very interesting video. Joe's an interesting guy. He has some interesting perspectives. He's a very good speaker. I hope he'll join us for more, because he did a great job. You'll see that this Friday, premiering on our YouTube and Facebook channels. Every Friday at 6 p.m. we have new videos. I'm doing the videos that I do on my own, like this one, on Tuesdays at 6 p.m. So we'll see you next time on Telltale Books. Thanks for watching. Bye.